Should you claim to be green? 76% of content creators are reluctant to discuss environmental issues now, fearing the label of greenwashing. That was according to a new survey, and it was one of the topics we talked about in this week's episode 1 of the new format of the Public Relations Podcast with my guest host, Adam Weeks, this week from Cirrus Influence. And what I'm going to do now, I thought I would do, is quickly sum up the key takeaways that I got from the episode in 3 minutes. And I would love to know what you think about some of these points too. The whole greenwashing issue was an interesting one. We were talking about how PR professionals should approach this topic and how perhaps with caution, instead of saying we are a perfect green organization, because the problem is that you can't be perfect and there will always be someone that will point that out and they could be influential and cause a lot of harm. And perhaps it's better to just be as green as possible and keep going on that ongoing sustainable journey and get that message across instead, to say, look, we're always interested in ideas, rather than trying to claim that we are that perfect organization, because there will always be some criticism. Talking of that and talking of trying to be perfect, we were talking about the story, the launch of the Apple iPhone 15 as well, and about how more criticism seems to be growing around this. Adam is from the technology space, and he was bringing up this story, and it was quite interesting to talk about, and about the fact that Steve Jobs kind of set this brand of being this cutting edge, way ahead of everyone image, but perhaps they actually set this brand a little bit too far. And is there a danger that when you point that out, when you say that we are cutting edge, you're actually setting that standard too high for yourself? It might push innovation forward, but what happens when you're not really delivering that massive gap, that massive step forward that your customers are used to expecting? Do you use leaks to help your campaign still? It's a risky tactic, certainly from some of the cases that have been coming out recently, but they can also be a powerful tactic, as we talked about in the show. There's certainly a time and place for it. We talked about one particular celebrity divorce, but we also talked about the gaming world as well, whereby there's an entire industry of YouTubers and content creators who rely on leaks and rumors to power what they do and to build hype. And gamers seem to love leaks, but in other areas where a leak gains a narrative that it is being used as sort of underhand technique, that can certainly backfire. Be interesting to know what you think about that one too. Is leaks still effective? So how often do you let your target audience pick the campaign message? It was an interesting story that we looked at from Chipotle, talking about a quesadilla that they have on their menu. So often brand campaigns and marketing and PR campaigns come out of a boardroom discussion. But in this particular case, a TikToker suggested a new item they should add to their menu. The PR manager stepped in after a couple of months and said, yes, we're going to do this. And it saw a massive increase in sales simply by jumping on what other people were talking about, rather than trying to run their own campaign on their own particular message. A lot of firms have had ideas, and then bigger organizations have gone and done it too. Adam is in that situation with a client, and he pointed out that it's all about differentiating yourself, both in the product, but also in a very clear narrative as well. He talked about that. We talked about narrative as well in the community bag. We had a question asking about why journalists weren't engaging with a particular set of press releases, which were very fact-based. And we were saying that it's so important to have a really good story with something as well. We talked about YouTube and their new AI tools for next year, where it'll help your mouth actually speak different languages, so you can communicate with people in different languages, and it looks like you're actually talking. And we talked about doorbusters, both virtual and in real life, for Black Friday. I'm sure you've got that already sorted out as well. But not just about giving discounts, but about giving exclusive access or one-on-one attention. Come on the show as a guest, thepublicrelationspodcast.com. What do you think of all these issues? I would love to know your thoughts on them. Join the conversation with me on the show. You can also, of course, leave comments below. Join that discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas and get you on the show as well. You can find the details on the website.